Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way Season 4 Episode 8, A Beautiful Thing Is Never Perfect. And what an episode it was. And you know what, this episode was a beautiful thing. It really was a beautiful thing, and it's never perfect. And it's a great title for this episode. First off, with this episode, this is what 90 Day Fiance is all about. Like I said, I'm all for the love, I'm all for the support, and I'm all for with these beautiful love stories. And I think some of the couples at this point are doing that well. I'm gonna start though with Danielle and Johan. Now, obviously they're married, and Danielle and Johan, this episode, like, you know how Danielle is like a little spiritual thing. She does all of this, like, incest thing, whatever. And, she has like some kind of like a spiritual thing that she does. And she does like a little spiritual reading with one of her friends who also speaks Spanish. Well, she made Johan go to this reading, get on a Zoom call with this guy to do some kind of reading, and the guy just said like Johan needs like to watch his mouth or something. I don't know. It was a little weird. I don't really understand those type of things, but I mean, the guy just told Johan like just be careful with his mouth or something like that. It was just kind of weird. After that, Danielle and Johan were talking, and talking about it and everything, and all of a sudden, the electricity goes out. And when the electricity went out, Danielle was like, what just happened?" And she was just like, "Well, that was God." And he was just like, "The electricity went out, and Johan forgot to pay the freaking electric bill." So naturally, when you don't pay your bills, utilities are going to get shut off. And who would have thought at that very moment that his electricity will turn off? Then Johan gonna say, well, he don't have the money for it, and Danielle's gonna have to pay for it. And Danielle was just like, this just proves that Johan is just not taking the initiative or responsible for doing what he has to do and everything. So they got into an argument about that. I don't even know how their electric got turned back on. Later in the episode, we seen Danielle and Johan, like, they're at, Danielle moved to this apartment. She says she likes it. It's not far from the beach and everything. And she's finally completely moved to the DR. They later go have lunch somewhere, and they get into a conversation. Danielle has an ex-boyfriend that's coming to the DR to visit her. Where have we heard that before? And now Johan is just like, okay, this is a little weird. And Danielle was like, there's a little control because they don't allow him to have female friends, and she don't want him, and he don't want her to have like guy friends. Well, there's the double standard there. So Danielle said that, he's coming to visit, we're going to hang out, and he wants to meet you. Johan is just like, no, I don't really want to meet him. This is just weird to me. And in this situation, I agree with Johan. I get so tired of your partner's exes always just popping up at the random spot. Why is your ex-boyfriend coming to another country? I mean, maybe coincidentally traveling to the DR on vacation, coincidentally. Why is your ex-boyfriend coincidentally coming to the DR? And then you're gonna have to rub it in your face, rub it in the face of your husband and stuff. Like, and a lot of American women, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to stereotype here, but a lot of I wouldn't say just American women, but a lot of women are not always over their ex. Even when they move on, they're always going to say, oh, I'm always going to have love for my ex and everything. Okay, fair enough. But if you're not completely over your ex, then you need to just be with your ex. Because it's just not fair to your next. It's just not fair to your next going through all that. And I feel for Johan. He's just like, nah, I'm not doing this. So we'll see how that plays out. Next couple I want to talk is Jamie and Chris. Now is a beautiful thing. Let's get into something beautiful. Jamie and Chris tied the knot. They tied the knot. Chris's family couldn't make it, but they all joined on a Zoom call. They got married. Beautiful wedding. They decided to do the whole ceremony in Spanish. Chris said something a little weird though. She was just like, like I don't need to understand my woman's words because I know how she really feels and stuff, something like that. Weird, but it's your vows, and if you really love this girl, you want to hear what she has to say or understand what she says. But yeah, I am happy for Jamie and Chris. They tied the knot. I didn't think they were going to tie the knot. It's going to get interesting for the rest of the season with them, but I'm so happy for them. And they had Jamie's friends come and finally got to meet Chris, and it went well and everything. And yeah, they just tied the knot, had a really nice ceremony, and that was it. That was it for Jamie and Chris. Next couple I want to talk is Gabe and Isabel. So last week we left off with the cliffhanger with Gabe coming out to Isabel's parents that he's trans. And Gabe was like, we left on the cliffhanger, he was just all nervous and everything. Isabel's father, who's really religious, was just like, I'm speechless. But, God taught me not to judge and everything. I am speechless. I would like to know more. So that was a small acceptance. Isabel's mother was just a little. She was also shocked. She was speechless. But they said some really nice words, and that left Gabe really happy. However, later we see Gabe and Isabel have a conversation, and it's just like, I haven't talked to your parents since, and so Isabel had a conversation later with the parents, and they just want to know more about it. Now Gabe is still a little apprehensive about it because he said it's never been that easy before. Usually when he tells people that he's trans, a lot of religious people just attack him and stuff and everything, and it just doesn't go well. So he was just like, is that it? Like, I don't think this is over. So, I mean, like I said, Isabel had a conversation with the parents, and the parents just want to know a little bit more on how it was played out, basically, how it was about. But as of right now, they're accepting. We also seen Gabe hang out with Isabel's kids, Sarah and Miguel. And he took them out and he asked them, like, would y'all be happy if I proposed to your mom? And they were like, see, yes. And he wants to like put a ring like in this like little pastry and stuff and surprise her with it and everything. So I'm all for it. Gabe and Isabel, I'm so happy that the parents for right now are accepting him, and the sky's the limit for them. Now Isabel's dad said she don't want him to rush. He don't want her to rush it right now. Continuing to get to know him before they get married. Fair enough. But it's love. And they just got that love, and as I said plenty of times, they're my favorite couple, and it's just nice. A lot of, I see a lot of like Facebook comments with these couples, and everybody's always like, oh, these couples are boring, this is a terrible season, this and that. No, I think these couples are in it for real, and they really do love each other, and they're fighting to the teeth to keep their relationships going. And this next couple, it does this the best out of anybody, and that is Nicole and Mahood. I cannot. I mean, they're married. They are married, but last week, as we all know, they had like a big fight in the middle of the street where Nicole pushed Mahood in the middle of the street. He left her at the hotel that they were at when they went swimming, and it was just a complete mess. This episode, they try to make it up. The brother, Mahood's brother, comes in and steps in. It was like, what's going on? And Nicole like at first was like, I don't really want to talk to Mahood's brother. But then Mahood's brother was just like, look, talk to me. I'm not Mahood. He's just, it's a little tough for him. It's a little different. Mahood said that he's Egyptian, not American, and she's American, not Egyptian. So they're clashing. She wanted to go back. Mahood's brother talked to her, calmed her down a little bit, said Mahood, he's a nice guy, but he just needs some work. He needs to basically work on some things. And the brother said, him and his wife had similar issues. The cultural differences at first were just so much, they were fighting so much about it. Eventually, they got through it and accepted that. And he feels like Nicole and Mahood will get there at one point. He even told them to quit acting like little children, because they were acting like little kids, throwing tantrums and everything, and because they weren't speaking. And they somewhat made up. He talked her into staying and not going back to America. But I just can't. I'm just over every single scene this season with Nicole and Mahood has just been nothing but fighting and complaining. And I'm at the point where this couple should have just been on Happily Ever After, because that's where all the fights happen. The other way has more loving couples. This couple should have just hit Happily Ever After right out the gate. Because maybe they will, maybe next year they will be on Happily Ever After. Who knows? Because it's just ridiculous with them. And they're always fighting, and they're still together, they're still married, but I don't know. They need to really, really understand each other a little bit better. Last couple I want to talk is Jen and Rishi. So now Jen is back in America because her visa expired. She had gotten on a video call with her friends that she was talking to before she left for India the first time. Well, y'all remember at the beginning of the season where Jen's friend tried to catfish Rishi and sent him a message, and the messages were they were clean. There wasn't nothing inappropriate, really. And, the friend was just like, that's still shady, and Jen was like, there was nothing about that conversation that get me like, ugh. Well, they get talking, and that same friend that catfished him was like, so Rishi sent me a picture of him with no shirt on and his underwear. And, Jen actually reacted to that. I'm like, oh my God, no, he didn't. Wow. And they screenshot it. And the friend said, they started talking, and they were going to almost plan to meet up. And then Rishi blocked her and everything. Now, when I was watching Pillow Talk, the Pillow Talker said that same picture is on his Instagram, and it's for the whole world to see, so it's not any picture out of the ordinary. So now Jen's a little bit reacting to it. Now, my thing about this is that I don't know why her friend is just so gun-ho about that shit. I think this is actually I think her friend is trying to ruin their relationship. It's one of those kind of sabotaging type things. I always take something like that, I don't really want to see you happy. People, when they do stuff like that, be like, oh, I don't want to see you get hurt. I'm trying to prove how bad this guy is. That's so wrong. They have to see for themselves and everything. I understand you want to protect your friend, but that's not the way to do that. And I had people do that to me, when I was going through relationship stuff like that, tried to prove that the girl I was talking to was a horrible person or whatever, and I was just like, that's just not cool. So now Jen's all upset, but she's still like, I'm not going to end a relationship over this. So she had mentioned that she got her visa reinstated for 10 years. Now she said 10 years, but I hope she read it right this time after what happened last time. I hope she read it right. So she's going back to India. She's been in America for 4 months. She's now going back to India to be with Rishi. Like, she got in the car, she's going back to the airport, and so forth. There's concerns, but, she's still optimistic that it will all work out in his good grace. Rishi, we also seen Rishi. He was at a dance class, and he met up with one of his friends, and his friend was just like questioning him, saying that, like, are you being faithful? I don't really trust you and stuff. And like, Rishi is just like, yeah, like, I mean, just looking like a deer in headlights and everything. But I don't know. If y'all see me looking up at the looking to my right, I'm watching American Idol, which is my favorite show. So I did this recap a little late this evening. But yeah, Jen and Rishi, he is doing something a little bit shady, but it's not as bad as, Jen's friend. And honestly, I think, like I said, Jen's friend is just, I'm not for that. I'm sorry. I don't like that at all. But it is what it is. I'm happy for these couples, and I give Jen credit. She's trying to make this work and everything. So yeah, but that's all the couples. Like I said, there wasn't much like hard things that went down in this episode. Debbie and Osama were not on this episode. We'll see them next week. I'm over Nicole and Mahood, but everybody else is doing really well, and that's what I'm happy to see. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm sorry I did not do Married at First Sight last week. As I said, I'm only going to do it for the rest of the season if it's something good happens. So I'll be back on tomorrow on Wednesday to do Catfish. And I'll see you guys then soon. So again, thank you guys for watching. And I hope you all have a great night. Again, to hit that like button and subscribe.